Hi, and thanks for joining us on a summer edition of Two Guys and a Lot of Wine. I'm Bobby P.
And I'm Rocky Holland.
And we are excited. We're back in studio. There's new cameras, high definition. I hope our faces still look just as good as they've always looked in the past. And we have picked out some of our summer favorites so far for the summer. And they're relatively, probably going to be new to a lot of folks out there. And I'm sure Rocky has one that I think he's familiar with. But Rocky's going in cold on mine. He's never had these before.
I haven't had these, no. They're both Italian, right?
You know, I'm going to this summer drinking a lot more Italian wines than I have in the past.
Can't go wrong with that.
And I'm very excited, Rocky, because the first one that we're going to be trying tonight is, and I love saying it, Bellagio Lambrusco.
Hey, the Bellagio
Lambrusco.
Yeah,
and this is one of my hidden little gems over the last 2 months since the start of summer, late spring. It is a Lambrusco, and I know Lambruscos, some people's their tentacles go up, but trust me, Lambrusco is a great summer wine.
Yeah, because you think of the Riuniti on Ice commercials from the 80s.
Yes, yep.
Just the big jug where it's like $4. No, that's not.
And I don't think this is sweet at all. I think it's a great all-purpose drinking wine in the summer, whether you're at a barbecue, whether you're at somebody's house, you don't want a heavy like a cab or something like that. This, I think, is going to, at least in my opinion, make you very happy, Rocky. So
yeah, we had a Lambrusco that I discovered a couple of years ago on the show, and it was a full sparkling Lambrusco. It came in a champagne bottle. This is more of a flat, and you can see some bubbles forming right in there. They call that frizzante. I think that's a French term.
I already get that smell. I get that Lambrusco smell automatic off the bat.
Yeah. Oh, I love the color too. It's beautiful.
Oh, I'm sorry, but that is really.
I mean,
how do you go wrong with the Lambrusco with a little bit of?
In the summertime, I mean, this is not a winter wine. This is a summer wine, but it's just so delicious.
And you know, Rocky asked before the start of the show. He said, "Is that a sweet? How is it marketed, or how they rate it?" And it does list itself as a dessert wine, but this is not. I'm telling people, and I don't like sweet wines. This is chilled, I think, at the right temperature.
Yep.
It's got just enough effervescence to pretty much go with any summer picnic food or barbecue that you're going to have outside. Yep. And it's a lower alcohol content. So you're going to sit there, you're going to drink
these Lambruscos come in at around 8%. So
I believe so.
You're looking at having less of a hangover if you pound for pound for the wine.
This one I think is 9. This one is 9.
Okay.
But you don't taste any alcohol. You get a little bit, but this is just an enjoyable drinking red.
What's the term we use? Porch pounder.
A porch pounder.
Porch pounder.
And for a red in the summer, which is highly, how many reds can you porch pound in the summer? This is one of them. This is an inexpensive Bellagio, the Bellagio name. You could probably look this up, find it locally. I did find this, I think, in New Liquor Depot. They had quite a lot of them. I think I bought a half a case. And I have 2 left. I'm saving one for the next time we get together. So you can definitely find this locally, and this is about $10.99.
Okay. And this is from what, Emilia Romagna?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Very good.
And what I like about this, Rocky, once again, is it's just an easy to drink summer wine, and that's what we're out here for. We're talking about wines that are easy to drink in the summer.
So if we were going to describe the fruit profile of this wine,
what
would you put it at? What's the primary? I know what I'm thinking is the primary fruit that hits me. I'm curious if you think the same thing.
I'm going to go blackberry.
I'm going to go with a overripe raspberry. It's almost like blackberry, yeah, definitely blackberry.
Those two.
Raspberry.
Yep.
Fruity. It's just it's good. And again, because of the low alcohol, it doesn't give you that burn.
Yeah.
You definitely do want to chill it a little bit, and it's got a little bit of a tingle to it, but it's not full on like champagne style tingle. So.
And like you said, I know we've done Lambruscos in the past. I think you had that delicious one you were talking about in the champagne bottle. But don't underestimate Lambruscos. You got to really go out there, try them, because they're going to be very enjoyable this time of year, and you certainly can't go wrong, especially under $14.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a really good drinking red.
Now, you don't want to go under $5. So some of the Lambruscos can be pretty bargain basement.
Bargain basement, yes, that is true.
Unless that's what you're into. We won't knock you.
But my choices tonight are going to be interesting because I knew it was 50-50 if Rocky was going to like this one because he thought it might be sweet. But I think we can agree it's not.
Give me some Every now and then we go, Fleming, they have this thing that's got like strawberries and blueberries and raspberries, and it's got the chantilly. They call it chantilly. It's whipped cream right on top. This would be delicious with that. Like, this would be perfect. But as far as being a full-on dessert wine, I wouldn't think like,
No.
oh, I need a slice of cake with no.
And I'm actually kind of surprised that even if you go on Vivino, they list the wine and it does say dessert wine, which I'm really surprised because there's no way I would ever think of this as the dessert
I
wine.
think the technical definition for dessert wine, at least in America, is 16% or higher in alcohol. So this is definitely not a
Yeah.
dessert wine by that standard of measurement.
Well, my next choice, which I think is going to be interesting because a lot of people, especially guys, rosé might not be cool enough or tough enough for summer wine. Of course, we know that that's not true because real men love rosé. But this rosé is Midnight Black, and I love the tagline how they advertise this one. It's called a non-polite rosé. And a non-polite for people who like their rosés, non-polite. And some rosés, like the beautiful one Rocky has in this bottle over here, some do look very beautiful. Some
That's very polite.
They look
Wait till
very
you see
polite.
the bottom of that bottle. It's actually a rose.
So this also
Nothing less manly than that bottle.
is an Italian rosé,
Yeah.
which could be bad, but I've enjoyed this one.
Oh, we're doing a cuvee here.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry
I might
about
have
that.
to. I might have to do this. You know what? Let's just do it. Let's just roll with it.
This is a little bit darker, and it should have a little bit of a bite, but it's a summer bite, so it should be a little bit enjoyable.
So I'm trying to think of how I would define this compared to, say, rosés from France.
A little acidic. Got a little bit of a,
It's got a bite.
not so much of an aftertaste. Actually, you know what? I'm going to try a cleaner glass because I think that Lambrusco is affecting it a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead and let's hit me with one of these. Let's see if I.
Now, the 2 times I've had this one, this will be the 3rd time I've had this. I was drinking this with Thai food.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that might have killed a little bit of the fruit there.
That's a little
So
bit better.
This has got some qualities that are similar to what you would find in like a provincial type of wine. It's got a little bit more bite to it.
It falls right off, though, very quickly. You get the bite quickly, it falls right off.
But again, we're talking about porch pounders here.
That's right, and that's the whole point of the
This is
show.
not like we're going to go spend $100 at a restaurant kind of wine.
And that was my point when I decided, me and Rocky decided to do a summer favorite wine, is you want wines that are relatively inexpensive, that you can drink a lot of if you have a party, and don't have to be super cold and still maintain a little bit of their flavor. This does not have a powerful flavor, but it has just enough flavor pop to let you know you're drinking a rosé. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, it's very subtle, but I mean it's also good. It's delicious.
Now, would I strongly agree with people who don't like who don't like polite rosés? Would I agree with that tagline? I don't know if this is a mean rosé, so I'm not going to say this is a
I
non-polite.
wonder how you define that it's not polite. How the advertisers came up with pink that's not polite.
Well, I know Sandy's in the audience, and I'm sure she'll give us an opinion on this one after the show. But I think that the non-polite aspect of it is it's a little bit kicky when it hits your palate, but then it falls right off. There's literally nothing going after the first few seconds. There's just a tad bit of flavor after that first bite or so.
It's got a little bit of an herbal quality to it. I'm curious where this is from.
Yeah, I should have wrote that down.
IGT.
Generally, I provide a little bit more information, but these are all available. You can Google these anywhere, and they're going to be available locally. This one, I think...
it says it has red berry. When I think of rosé, I think of strawberries and watermelon is what a lot of rosés have. That's in California, France, in particular, provincial rosés. In the south of France, like Languedoc, which is the one that we're going to, typically watermelon, raspberry, and strawberry. And it's just like every single one does that. So, it's kind of nice to have something that's not of that same profile that most rosés go to.
And I think that's why they probably use that tagline, because if you put that in a tasting of rosés, that's going to stand out pretty strongly.
Yeah.
And that's another price point that I think is between $11.99 and $12.99. So it's certainly not an expensive rosé. And there are certainly cheaper rosés.
Yeah.
But I think its taste profile is unique enough to give it a shot for the summer.
I would love to know what grape is used to grow, because if you think about, obviously going to be a red grape, it's Italy, possibly Sangiovese. Sometimes they grow a lot of Merlot. It could be like a Dolcetto.
And I'm like you, during the summer, I generally, in the past many years, I usually always stick to French rosés. I stay away from California rosés. I still find them a little too sweet.
Yeah, they tend to be on the sweet side. Even when they're not on the sweet side, their fruit profile is just a little too in your face for me. I know a lot of people like that, and they tend to be high on the alcohol side, which in the summertime, I want the porch pounder. I don't want something that's high in alcohol. I don't want something that is going to give me a headache the next day.
And I
California
think
wines a lot of times do.
What's good about porch pounders this year is because everybody's going to be dying to get back into the normal routine after last summer. So I think people are going to be eager to try something different. They're going to want to have a lot of barbecues, have a lot of people over, try to get back into the swing of things. And don't be afraid to try something new. And especially Italian rosés. I've had Italian rosés before, 50-50. But this one has worked for me, and I think a lot of people might enjoy it. So I'm giving both of my selections
I'm good
an
with both
unbiased thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Especially that Lambrusco.
Yeah. Very good.
We used to have a lot of wine left in the glass.
I'm going to have to dump this. Somebody in the audience just gave me a look. So I'm going to do this right here. And we're going to move on to, this is the Côte de Roses from Gerard Bertrand, famous rugby player before he decided
I've done Gerard Bertrand wines on the show
he's
before.
got a lot of, this is in the south of France, the Languedoc Roussillon region, and they tend to grow a lot of stuff that you find in like the Rhone Valley of France down there, except when you go over to the south of France, it's got a little bit more punch to it because it's warmer climate. So we get these every year. It's a consistent product. This is the 2020 right here. This is my favorite rosé, and it's not expensive. We get this between like $11 and $14.
And Gerard Bertrand, he's been around a long time. And I think for him to get situated in Costco, I mean that's got to tell you something that his wines are very popular and the people like them.
Yeah, and to give you an idea, the quantity that Costco buys in. Costco, I believe, is the largest wine retailer in the world. In Massachusetts, they sell this wine for less than you can buy it wholesale in Connecticut. I know some people in the industry that I asked that question to. I said, "Wow, I'm not gonna give the price discrepancy on this show here, but it's a pretty good bargain there. Not that I would ever buy wine and transport it across state lines." For consumption, I guess that's legal, right? You can't sell it.
That's
I'm
correct.
not selling it to anybody. So anyway.
Yeah, that's the more traditional rosés that I've been used to for many years. You can't escape that. That's
strawberry, watermelon, raspberry. It's just strawberry water. And it's like you go to these different rosés that are in France, and it's just which one has more raspberry than strawberry or strawberry than watermelon, but they all have the same thing. And every now and then you get one that has a little bit of an herbal quality, and I love that when you get one like that. This one doesn't have too much of an herbal quality. I wish it did. That comes from, we've been over this on the show, the chemical called pyrazine, that sometimes when you pick the grapes a little too soon, it'll have like a green quality that you're definitely going to see in the Sauvignon blanc. Most Sauvignon blancs have that, but occasionally when you get it in rosé, it's just a little different. And this one's got a tiny bit of that quality, but not too much.
And I know we might have covered this in the past, but I can't remember for sure. What do you actually get? And I've seen these rosés in the wine stores. I've seen rosés $30, $40, sometimes $50. What are you getting when you get into that price point for rosé? Is it just the scarcity?
So you're talking about Bandol, and the best way that I could say is, and I've had some rosés that are expensive like that. They're made with the Mourvedre grape. You drink it, and it's got that aftertaste that just keeps going and going and going and going until the next sip. And that's great. I like that in Cabernet. I like that in Barolo. I don't necessarily like that in rosé, so I don't reach for the more expensive rosés. In fact, I would prefer this rosé over some of the $30 varieties that you can find. It's just not a wine that I think you get a whole lot more by spending twice as much.
And I think that's
not
the
for
point.
rosé. Not for me, at least. It's subjective. Everybody's got their own opinion on these things. But
People who buy wines thinking always more expensive is going to be better, you have to remember, people who are drinking rosés, and though we drink rosés all year, you drink rosés faster. It's not more of a wine that you're analyzing every sip. You want it to be refreshing, you want it to be flavorful, but when you start getting to the $30, $40, $50 prices for wine, especially for reds, and of course, some whites, fine, you're going to analyze this aspect of it. But rosés in the summer, come on, guys. It's just...
yeah, those Bandol rosés, to me, they just have... It's kind of a weird... It's almost like a burnt fruit quality that it doesn't really... It's just not my thing. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just not my thing. I know a lot of people like high-end rosés. I don't. If I'm going to spend that money, it's going to be something along the lines of Bordeaux, Cabernet, Barolo, not rosé.
And I know we talked about this in the last show that we filmed outside. It's very subjective how cold some of these wines should be. I know you said it's personal taste.
Very subjective.
You do lose a little flavor the colder it is.
You do.
These have been sitting a little bit. I know yours is still got a pretty good chill to it. So the flavors of these wines are going to change. We'll taste them again before the end of the show because they are going to change a little bit.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, a good rosé, even a cheap one, will still taste pretty good and drinkable, even at room temperature.
Yeah, and when you get to, as a general rule, reds you want to be about 10 degrees below room temperature. Whites you want to be about 10 degrees above refrigerator temperature. And so your average refrigerator temperature, you're talking about between probably 38 to 42 degrees, somewhere around there. So you want it to be slightly north of that. But with rosé, I can drink that right out of the refrigerator, and it's still got a lot of flavor, at least with this one does. But you can see as it starts to warm up, it's going to have even more flavor. Now, this one is 14% alcohol. So
this one we just drank is 14%.
Yeah,
you don't
blows your mind, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Okay, wait till it warms up a little bit, and then you can start to get some of that. They call it hot for a reason. High alcohol wines, they say they're hot. So you want to, if you drink them too warmer than it should be consumed, it's going to taste. You can taste the alcohol burn. So you want to chill it down some more. Interestingly, though, with this wine, even though it's a little bit higher in alcohol, this one does not give me a hangover at all compared to a lot of rosés, in particular the California rosés.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if it's the quality, the sulfite content, or what, but it's just a good all-around wine for me. So I'll stop talking about Coke. Oh, I don't know. I hate to put you guys on the spot, Jen.
Oh yeah, the bottom is beautiful.
The bottom of it's like an actual rose. I'm going to hold it like this to give you a chance to. And maybe we can take a picture of it later.
It's a good conversation.
It's cool if you've got like a wine rack and you put it in backwards and you can see the roses. You can put like a couple rows of those. So it's a little gimmick, but it's kind of neat. Yeah.
I want to quickly interject before we get to our next wine. Rocky and I have a big thing coming up in October. Rocky. Two Guys and a Lot of Wine will have been filmed. We've been filming 10 years.
10. Now I've only been here since
4 years.
5 of those years.
5 years.
February of 16 was the first time that I came on the show. So
almost 100 episodes, and I did a quick calculation once, of course, with those 7 bottles we did on the last show. Well over 400 bottles of wine we have sampled on this show.
Wow.
We're going to have a great show in October to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. So I'm not sure what it's going to be yet, but we'll keep you posted. But I want to thank Rocky for joining me after Jim's departure.
This has
and
been
10
so
years
much fun.
is awesome. It's awesome.
I'll tell you what, it was kind of cool doing these remote shows, but I love being back in studio. It's been since February of last year, and it's July now. So what are we talking? February, March, April, May, June, 15 months?
Yep, that's
Oh my
amazing.
God.
And I really want to thank Jen Evans. The studio is in great shape. We have all new cameras, this 4K high definition stuff too. She does a lot of work to keep this studio
I came
going.
in and I was like, they look like robots, like out of a movie, staring at me. It's really cool. And I'm watching these now, and I'm comparing them to like the grainy, from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And the old. It's just the technology is great.
But it's a great experience. It's been great to be here for almost 10 years with both you, Rocky, and Jim when he was here, Jen, Jatu when Jatu was around, and we're looking forward to a big celebration for our 10 years.
Very
So,
cool. Yeah.
all right, what do we have to? What's this whitey? This is a Sauvignon Blanc, I believe.
So we've got this, and then I'm going to have a surprise.
Yeah, Rocky does have a surprise. That's right. We should
Bobby
get to
knows
it.
what the surprise is. The cat's been let out of the bag, but it's going to be for you folks at home. There's going to be a big surprise coming your way.
You younger millennials will
Yes.
like it too.
So this is Whitehaven New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, as you know, it's typically, I call it grapefruits and grass.
Yep.
It's in your face. It's always a very consistent product. Every now and then I find one that's not grapefruits and grass. This is one. And you had a party recently, and we had a lot of guests over, and we brought a bunch of different varieties of this particular grape and from that particular region. And everybody loved this one, and I love this one. I've traditionally not been a big New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc fan.
I know that. I've actually myself even like more French Sauvignon Blancs than the New Zealand.
And I don't know why. Of recent, I've come around on New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, and it is now kind of like in the middle of summertime, especially when it like gets really hot. So this one, right off the nose,
Wow.
you get a little
I
bit of
remember that
grass. Yep.
You sure do.
You get some grapefruit, but the thing that I kind of like about this one that's kind of sets it apart from most of the New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs, it's not just grapefruits and grass. It's got a little bit of a peachy characteristic to it, which kind of tones it down a little bit.
That's the word. It's a toned down Marlboro.
Right.
And that makes a huge difference because some people really, those strong Marlboros are just too much for most people.
So
This is a toned down Marlboro.
do you want to compare these side by side, or you
Yes,
just
let's
wanna
do it because I
finish
think we
this
only have
up?
about 3 or 4 minutes left. I really want to
This-
get this in.
This is a concept, folks, that many of you are unfamiliar with. This is a can of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. Kim Crawford, it doesn't get, I mean, other than maybe Oyster Bay, it doesn't get much more commercialized than Kim Crawford. Sauvignon Blanc from the can, got it from the same place, Costco. Porch Pounders, you know, which I don't go to Costco for the, you know, the heavy stuff. I go for the, you know, $10 Porch Pounders. Anyway, they sell this by the 12 pack. So you got to see
know,
the difference between this. Do you have am I going here?
Yep.
All right.
Even the color's different.
Yeah. Same grape, same region. But it's just a little bit more pungent, if you will. I think
Pungent's
it's
the
got
right word.
a little bit more of that just herbal, grassy, in-your-face thing. I like it. I like this one better.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit cheaper. This Whitehaven's kind of in the $13 to $15 a bottle price range, which, believe it or not, is pretty steep.
Yeah.
Unless you get up to like Cloudy Bay, which is $30 a bottle, which I think is a complete waste of money. Other than Santa Margarita, I can't think of a more overpriced wine that exists on the planet Earth. But Whitehaven, around the $13 to $15 price range, it's a really good product. Kim Crawford, I think, by the bottle sells for somewhere around $10 to $12 a bottle. So
What is the cans in a 4-pack?
it comes in a 12-pack.
12-pack of cans.
Like a
Wow.
can of beer, yeah. And you know what? This is 250 milliliters. A bottle of wine is 750 milliliters. So you're talking this is 1/3 of a bottle. So if you say, hey, you know, I just got home from work. I don't want to crack open a bottle because, you know, in the case of me and Sandy, I might actually drink it. If you just want like something that's a small amount, so we'll crack open one of these cans, split a can, and go to bed. And it's a good way to not open up a bottle and then have to have that. Some bottles, you know, the next day it's just not as good. Some hold up great overnight in the refrigerator.
I would probably suggest, maybe both you and Sandy can agree, don't drink it out of the can if you don't have to. I'd still pour it in a glass because if you drink it out of the can, you're going to drink it much faster than you should.
Couldn't even tell you what it tastes like drinking it out of the can because I cannot bring myself
Thank
to ever
you.
do that.
Thank you. I
That's
know it's
just
tempting. I've seen people bring these to the beach.
Yeah, I don't
can't.
even
I
drink
just
beer
can't
out
do
of the
it.
can. I just can't do it.
Can't do it.
you
Can't
know?
do it. But the difference is pretty profound. And you know, a person like myself, I'm going to pick the Whitehaven because it's a little bit more subtle, which I tend to like in my Sauvignon Blanc.
What's interesting about Sauvignon Blanc is that it is most wines. If you hand harvest the grapes, it is a higher quality product and it equals a better tasting product. New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, and I read this in a book, Wine Chemistry, I think Andrew Waterhouse. There is a chemical, it's a precursor to fermentation that happens when the grapes rupture. I think it's called 3-mercaptohexanol, 3-mercapto 1-hexanol. But anyway, what it means is that when the grapes rupture, when they're hitting that big machine harvesting thing and they open up, there's a chemical process that starts at that point in time that gives it that grapefruit and grass quality that you wouldn't get if they were carefully hand harvested. And so, unlike most grapes, it's like backwards. Like you want it to be. It's going to be a better product if it's machine harvested in the cheap way than it would be if it's hand harvested, unless you don't want that profound grapefruit and grass quality.
And I will say that the Cream Crawford makes you pucker. The Whitehaven doesn't make you pucker.
Yeah.
So good choice, Rocky. And we're winding up. We're wrapping up our summer favorites here. So my favorite is still going to be the Lambrusco for tonight. So I'm going to give that the top thumbs, followed probably by your Whitehaven. Then want my Midnight Black, then the Rosé, but they can be interchangeable.
Oh, so we got to. I'm not tied in anymore. So we've got our best in glass, and I'm going to say that mine is a tie between my favorite Languedoc here and your Lambrusco. So that means that you get the best in glass.
The best in glass goes to the
Award
Lambrusco.
Goes to the Lambrusco today. That was fantastic.
So I want to thank you, Rocky, for bringing some good stuff in. I want to thank our audience for sticking with us for almost 10 years. Keep with us. And until next time, which I think will be August, I'm not sure if we're filming in August, but until next time, keep Rocky and I in your wine cellar.